And good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning. It is October the 5 already. How can this be happening? You'll see right here, my co-host is ready to sign on, but she's having electronic difficulties on Monday. I think what happened is she took her computer out for a little too much partying over the weekend. I think they had a little too much October harvest fun, her and her computer. That's what I'm believing is happening here. But we're gonna, if not, we will just hear from Veronica today, and you can just see her face there, and that works too. So
I think my computer feels like it's just been working too hard.
well, I know that you are a high demand lady, and you demand a lot from everything around you. So maybe that's what it's going on, a digital strike there now. Oh,
I guess it is.
are we? Nope. See, it just is refusing to camera eyes today, but we can hear you fine and we can see you, so that we can see your face. So we know who's speaking and we hear you. The how would we say this if you were a singer? The silky, soft, dulcet tones of Veronica Michael. There, how was that for an introduction? Was that?
Well, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, pretty good. Okay, 40 years in broadcasting finally starting to pay off. Anyway, we want to say good morning to all our friends, and what we're really happy about is that the weather in the Red River Valley is absolutely wonderful for potato harvest, sugar beet harvest, soybean harvest, sunflower harvest. I don't know what else is out there in the Red River Valley this year. Of course, we're going to talk about hemp. I'm saving that to the end. But for the other commodity products that are out here, usually, my dad always said, with October, you'll always get 2 good weeks. Might be the first 2, might be the last 2, might be the first one and the last one, might be the first one and the third one. But for whatever reason this year, it looks like we are going to have a run of absolutely perfect harvesting weather that has started actually the end of September. And every weather report that I'm seeing just shows that it's going to continue right on. And for that, we are very thankful. And we just urge everyone that is anything to do with any of the harvests to please get as good a sleep as you can, stay off the coffee and the other uppers as much as you can. Just stay awake and be alert. I have a rule. Anybody that's in my house, by the way, Veronica, if you're meeting a truck on any of our gravel roads, you pull over and you stop. The truck doesn't need to be considering where you are on the road or how the road is changing. We've just always, when a sugar beet truck or any of these new semis that are coming down the road, coming at us, we pull over as far as you possibly can, where you normally wouldn't drive. You just pull all the way over and stop and just give them the road. And I've never seen a driver that didn't appreciate that. It takes 10 seconds out of my time, but it gives them the confidence that they don't have to be sort of like driving on the edge of the road and wondering just where I am in my driving or anything like that. And so that's what we do.
Idea.
And I wish more people would do that because as a growing up gal, how stressful it is to be driving those big trucks on the rutty gravel roads anyway, and then to be worried about a car on the other side of the road is another thing to add to your duties. So
no, absolutely. I am actually not a skilled truck driver, but I love someone who is. My sister drives trucks for a living, and and a lot of us in the valley know lots of people who are out on the roads right now. So yeah, that is a great idea, just to help keep those guys safe and just things moving along for the harvest. Like you said, it's been great that it's been a good few weeks. I think everyone is deserving. It's been a hard couple of years to get to a good few weeks this year.
It's hard is that is the most minimalistic thing I think you can say about the last couple of harvest years. Yeah, last year was between the stress and the weather, and then here in our area, we left 68% of the sugar beets in the ground ultimately. It was a disaster, both externally as far as the weather and the crops and everything, but internally people were taking so much, internally, that just hadn't happened before. We'd left edges of fields or 20 acres or this or that or something like that, but
It
never.
was amazing. I'd never
never
seen that much corn, I think, in the field as an
yeah,
adult.
yeah. Driving all winter, driving from Crookston down Highway 9 to past Highway 10 and then finally on the interstate. It was practically all unharvested corn the whole way.
This weekend, I was in Minot, so I had the beautiful opportunity to drive through North Dakota from Fargo up to Minot and see so much action in the field, so much harvesting, sunflowers, so many things happening. But also got to visit some hemp farmers that were harvesting their fields and see what they have done to do their drying work and bucking of their material and putting through a grinder. So that was really a fun field experience to have on such a beautiful fall weekend.
And some of this product is heading your way then?
We sure hope so.
Oh,
we
wonderful.
Sure hope so.
Wonderful.
They are first year growers that just did beautiful work. They aim to have material for both the flower market and for a processor like us.
Wonderful.
So we are sure hopeful, but just the ingenious applications and the way they did some framing within a building they had, and then some wire and really work with snow fencing to hang the hemp was just really beautifully done.
You just great. I'm so happy. You got me some pictures, huh? You got me some pictures.
I always, me, we don't have pictures in our shop, so I am always very respectful of every grower that I visit and don't take pictures.
Doggone it. I want pictures. I want photos. I'm stuck here.
I did ask them if they'd be willing to be guests on our show. So they were.
Oh,
they
good.
were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But it was my first time. I don't want to be like the paparazzi coming in on my first time. We're still with Midwesterners.
Oh, we are. Oh, the show's going by too fast. You're already 7 minutes in. Of course, this is Monday. It's called Have You Heard? It's our short version of the show.
Oh, can I say something else?
Of course you can. We're not done yet. John Reitmeyer, my guest and co-host Veronica Michael, and we have a story for you today. But what is it you want to say, young lady?
Well, I also wanted to say a thank you to everyone in the Minot area that came out for the Souls of Spirit event. This weekend, there was about 200 to 250 people in attendance that came and saw a variety of vendors. We were happy to be there and to talk about our products and what we do with processing in Fargo. And it was really great to spend time in Minot, North Dakota. It's a beautiful town, Magic City, and it was just really fun to be there.
Wonderful. How did you drive out? Did you get up to number 2, or did you stay on 94 and then take a cross?
I like to go to Jamestown and then up on 52. Okay. I like that way. It's pretty, up that way. And then I kind of came a funny way back, but I didn't want to come the same way back. So I kind of went an extra jaunt to go all the way over to Steele and down. But I do have to say something. Steele, North Dakota has the best gas station, don't you think?
Okay, never been. If I've been there, I filled gas and went right on by. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, listeners, when you're in North Dakota, I think Steele, North Dakota may have the best gas station. It is lovely. Although I was that person there, and I was trying to get a sandwich out of the container, like the case. Okay. And you know how they have signs up right now, don't touch other things and don't be that guy. Well, I was that guy. I was like, I don't know, I was nervous, or the container was, I don't know, it like popped into the air and like flew into the air. The sandwich like went all over. I'm sure these people that were all beautifully socially distanced in their line were like, who is this lady?
That's funny.
Yeah, so I touched many sandwiches, unfortunately. I mean, it was terrible. So Steele, I hope you let me back in.
Okay, but Steele is a great place to stop as you travel through. Good, okay. Our story today, first of all, we're going to we way off the hemp path, but it's an analogy to what's happening with hemp. And I don't know if you know, but aspirin, the official name for aspirin is acetylsilic acid. It's one of the first words I learned as a kid interested in science, that aspirin is acetylsilic acid. And do you know where acetylsilic acid is naturally found in our everyday world?
Can you please tell me?
Aspirin, what we call aspirin, acetylsilic acid, is normally found in plants that inside the bark of plants. Of course, first found in Egypt, but around here in willow plants. The first peoples here, or as we call them, the Native Americans, when they had a headache, they would find a little willow sapling and peel the bark back and chew on the bark. And that's where they found acetylsilic acid, which acted just like an aspirin. And I suppose mothers even had a dosage in mind. They knew that for a little kid, they used a twig that was a quarter of an inch around. And when their kids got to be 12 or 13, it was a finger-sized one. And when dad came home because he didn't get a deer that day, maybe they gave him one that was 1 inch around. I don't know, but that's where aspirin came from, one of our oldest ever plants. But in 1899, and you know the company name, of course, because we always call aspirin Bayer aspirin, even when we don't use that product anymore. A company in Germany figured out how to make it without needing the willow tree as a base. They figured out how to make acetylsilic acid from other chemicals. And that was one of the first synthetic drugs that was ever made. Well, fast forward here now about 120 years, and guess what's happening in the cannabinoid industry?
Oh, I'm supposed to guess for real?
Yeah.
I'm like intently listening. So go for it. Tell me.
So this is, I mean, it could have been a rhetorical question. That's okay. Really, in my opinion, really quickly, based on the fact that, CBD is really basically a new product to the world, but fake cannabinoids are coming. Now, this is not sort of like a backyard chemistry set guy that's trying to, give a bad drug to people in some way. This is a for real thing, in the fact that they are now figuring out ways to make all the different CBs, CBG, CBN, THCV, THCA. These are the first kind of 4 major other cannabinoids that we're looking at in the hemp plant. And right now, to get CBG, is it CBG or CBN? That's about $20 a gram. You might know that more than me. But one of them, to get it out of the plant, about $20 a gram is the street price for it, because it's very tiny quantities in the plant, and it takes a lot of sophisticated prairie products kind of work to get it. But they're claiming they're going to be able to make it for $1 a gram. So and just to run down the list here, CBG, or as it's found in the plant before it's modified, CBGA, fights inflammation, pain, nausea, slows the proliferation, that's our big word for the day, of cancer cells. CBN, or CBNA, is antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, it gives pain relief, helps you with sleeping, and an anticonvulsive agent. Then we have THCV, or THCVA. We'll talk about the A's in the end in a minute. That's an appetite suppressant. Oh, where can I buy that by the bottle? Fight pain and inflammation. It is Monday. Anxiety, tremors from Parkinson's, and ALS. These are all tests that are going on because these things have been believed to help these, and now they're doing them in double-blind tests. Then THCA, which has anti-inflammatory properties for the treatment of arthritis, lupus, fights nausea, and also helps with appetite loss. So do you see that in the same plant here, we have appetite suppressant chemicals and appetite loss helping chemicals? We just got to split them out of there. I just want the one side. Some folks need the other.
So now there is a great podcast actually happening right now that I'm not sure if any of our listeners like or listen to Freakonomics, but on the September 30th podcast of Freakonomics with Stephen Dubner, they did a segment on how psychedelics and other party drugs are changing psychiatry. It's episode 433. I put it on Prairie Products Facebook page today,
Okay.
and it is three leading researchers from Mount Sinai Health Systems. They discuss ketamine, cannabis, and ecstasy.
Okay.
And they have been each doing their research for 5 years, and their research treats everything from severe depression to addiction and PTSD. And one of the things that I really found really interesting about the podcast was that how long they had been doing their research and how ketamine had been approved this year as a psychiatric drug already. And they were really clear about some of the work with Parkinson's or other things with CBD. And then again, kind of like that, what you said, that separation. Why does this side of the cannabinoid do this and this side do this? But it's a really worthwhile 48 minutes and very interesting.
Awesome. Awesome. So anyway, our news today is just that there are companies that are doing this. They're using yeast, by the way, just like champagne yeast is different than beer yeast, is different than bread yeast. They're using very specialized yeast, not champagne, yeasts to split out the different CBs in the products that we are growing and raising, to try and split out the different CBN, CBG, TCAH, TCHV, and to split out these other things that they will then be able to synthesize as drugs, and ultimately not even start with the stuff that we raise in the field. This is coming. It's coming at us really fast. And so we just want to make everybody alert to knowing about these things. Want to talk about the A at the end of all of these things, because there's even THC A and THC. There's CBD A and CBD. And I don't know if you want to feel that one, or I'm happy to do it. So
You go ahead, John.
okay, well, the A is how it's found in the plant right now. Whether you go to any hemp field anywhere across the United States, or any, if you were to go and buy a smokable hemp product in a store, the CBD that's in there is completely CBDA, and that's chemically means that it's in the form of an acid, and that will do nothing for your body. You could eat it by the pound and it would pass right through. It will give you no effect. It will do nothing. Only when it's, and I have a problem with this word, only when it's decarboxylated. Did I say that word right? Did
Correct.
I say it? Only when it's decarboxylated does the CBDA, or these other things with an A on the end, turn into their name without the A on the end, meaning the acid is converted out of an acid, and only then does it become valuable to the human body. How do we do that, you ask? Well, in the old days, when somebody would roll it into a cigarette and smoke it, it happened in the process of the fire. When the fire heated it up to a certain temperature, it just automatically converted. So it wasn't really an issue at all. When you made brownies, if you remember back to your youth, or in watching it on the movies, I mean, I didn't mean your youth, but I meant, when you were watching the movies and stuff, of course, it happened in the oven when you made the brownies in the oven. But now, of course, when people are using CBD products, it has to be a step in the process, because otherwise, just taking it and squeezing the CBD out in one fashion or another and putting it in a bottle and giving it to somebody is an absolute waste, because it has to be decarboxylated. And that's a certain gentle, if you want to do it right, a certain gentle heat up to a certain amount of time. And we do it very gently, as other good people do.
Yep.
That turns CBDA into CBD. And only then is it valuable to a human body. And so these are all the chemistry backsides of things that are so important. And also why I would footnote that that's another reason why it's so important that you buy products from someone that you know their reputation and their history and what they're absolutely selling you. Because anybody can go out in the field and grab some hemp and squeeze it and say, here's real CBD juice. And it's great. It'll give you some health benefits. There's some green stuff in it, and it's really good. But it doesn't do some of the things that we know scientifically have to be done to give you even the most basic benefits of what this wonderful CBD stuff is that's coming at us.
Correct.
That was my big finish. You were supposed to come in now. And
That was a good explanation. Really good explanation.
Thank you. So that's kind of our show for today. It's all about the fact that synthetic elements of this are coming, and they're not necessarily bad because they're done very carefully in a laboratory, just like the aspirin that literally everybody who's alive today has been buying. I mean, there's no 120-year-olds alive, I don't think. So that's the aspirin that we buy, but really originally started as the underlayment of the bark of the willow trees that I have a whole row of them growing right here, right by the front row road in the ditch. And that's what our first peoples or the Native Americans knew as a headache cure. Didn't know why. I wonder what their name for it was. That would be an interesting thing to find out. Tomorrow, we should talk about future shows. We should talk about future tomorrow. Margaret Wyatowski is going to be here. She is the absolute pivot person for hemp in Minnesota. She has been running and I don't want to say running, there's a lot of people that are running it, but she's been the pivot person for the growers since very much day one. And did I freeze? No, there I'm free. And we are just going to just have a wonderful conversation with her from the starting roots to what's changed since it started to where she sees it all going. That's going to be wonderful. On Thursday, we're going to talk about a supply of everything that you need for your hemp, whether you have the smallest license in the state or the largest license in the state. What do we got to put on this to make it grow good and make it do what we want it to do? And that's with our friends down in St. Paul. A guy named Pat Seitz has literally a warehouse in St. Paul full of hemp benefits, hemp adjuvants. No, that's not the right
accoutrements.
That's exactly right. And he's a great guy. We've been talking to him since we got our license, and he's just been a good friend. And we just want to pick his brain from front to back. Next week, we have David Ladd from the Minnesota Industrial Hemp Association on one of the days. Not sure the other right now, but we have a full schedule going out in front of us. We've talked way too long today, but it's been really fun. And sad we can't see you, but we have a beautiful shot of you there, Veronica, and we know you'll get your equipment working for the future. So any closing thoughts here?
No, well, I hope everyone has a beautiful fall day.
It's beautiful. Get out there, get working, do everything you do. And we'll see everybody tomorrow right here as we do another chat CANNA at 10 a.m. tomorrow, as we do Monday through Thursday right here on YouTube and Facebook. Please be sure to like us, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell on YouTube. It's really important to us as we're trying to build an audience, and we thank you all. In the meantime, have yourselves a great day. Get out and